Sometimes in life, you don't need to fight every battle with words or actions. Sometimes the most powerful stance is silence, not out of weakness, but out of strength. When you step back and stay silent, you allow others to come to terms with their choices. Let them face the consequences of their own actions. Watch them come to understand your value and what you bring to the table. Here's what stepping back can do. Silence speaks volumes. It's a powerful language, one that doesn't require a single word, but delivers a message far more intense than anything spoken aloud. Silence isn't empty, it's full of presence, full of meaning. When you choose silence, you're communicating on a level that goes beyond sound. Your absence of words makes others pause, think, and question. Silence isn't passive, it's a choice, a decision to let others sit with their own actions and thoughts, unshaken by your responses. Sometimes by saying nothing, you say everything. When you don't fill the space with explanations or defenses, you're showing strength in knowing you don't need to prove yourself. That quiet confidence, that sense of self-worth, is often more unsettling and more telling than any response you could give. Silence forces others to feel the weight of their own words or choices without your interference, and that can be the most profound lesson of all. When you're silent, people start to notice the gaps. They start to realize what's missing. They feel the loss of your insights, your energy, your contributions. That absence, that emptiness has a presence all its own. It's a reminder of what you brought into their lives, what they perhaps took for granted. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting back to them their own actions, decisions, and sometimes their own faults. Without you filling the void, they're left alone with themselves, with their own echo. Silence can be unsettling. It makes people question, wonder, and often regret. It makes them think about what they may have overlooked, what they didn't appreciate, what they assumed would always be there. When you hold back, it's like putting the spotlight on them. Suddenly, they're forced to see themselves in a way they might not have noticed before. Silence can be an act of respect for yourself, but it's also an act of kindness toward others, allowing them the space to come to their own realizations, to come to terms with the truth, to learn without feeling cornered. When you stay silent, you're not conceding defeat. You're not withdrawing in weakness. Instead, you're exercising control over yourself, staying grounded in your own values and purpose. Silence speaks volumes, not because of what it lacks, but because of what it holds: strength, dignity, and above all, a quiet power that others can't ignore. When you step back and choose silence, you're giving others something rare in today's world, the chance to reflect. Reflection is uncomfortable for some, yet it's the only way to see things as they truly are. By creating this space, you're inviting others to stop, to pause, and to genuinely consider their actions, words, and intentions. This space, this silence, is a mirror. And in it, people see their own faces, their own choices, without the noise or distractions that allow them to evade the truth. Reflection isn't a place of judgment, but a place of learning. It's in the silence that people start to connect the dots, to realize things they might have brushed aside in the moment. They start to understand the weight of their words and actions, to think about what they've done or left undone. When you create that silence, you allow others to listen to their own conscience, their own inner voice, a voice that might have been drowned out if you'd rushed to fill the air with explanations or responses. In stepping back, you give them the rare opportunity to look inward, to grapple with their own emotions, and to face their own doubts or regrets. This reflection is where real growth happens. Without your interference, without the comfort of your response or the safety net of your reaction, they are left with themselves. It can be humbling, even unsettling, but it's necessary. It's in this space that people begin to understand the consequences of their actions, to feel the depth of what they may have overlooked or disregarded. You're not walking away, you're giving them the gift of insight, of self-awareness. You're giving them room to come to their own conclusions and maybe even realize their own shortcomings. In that silence, they have a chance to take responsibility, to consider what they might need to change, and most importantly, to realize how valuable your presence was. When you create space for reflection, you're showing them something powerful without saying a word. You're showing them that some things are worth contemplating, that some actions are worth more than immediate answers. And in that quiet, they begin to see the truth. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the presence of possibility, of transformation, and of a deeper understanding that can only come from within. Silence, when it comes from a place of purpose, is a profound act of self-respect. By choosing not to react, you're telling the world and yourself that you value your own peace and integrity above the noise of conflict or drama. You're not allowing yourself to be drawn into situations that don't serve you. You're honoring your worth, standing firm in who you are, and choosing not to give your energy to people or moments that don't deserve it. In staying silent, you're saying, I don't need to prove myself to anyone. That's power. That's respect for yourself. Self-respect means knowing you don't have to explain yourself, justify your decisions, or seek approval from others. You know who you are. When you hold back, when you choose not to react, you are defining yourself on your own terms. It's a refusal to let anyone else dictate your emotions or your sense of self. When you stay silent, you're drawing a line, showing that you won't be pulled into the chaos or forced into a reaction. You're protecting your boundaries, choosing yourself over the need to be right, the need to be heard, or the need to be understood by everyone. Self-respect in silence isn't weakness, it's discipline. It takes strength to know when not to respond, to let go of the desire to have the last word, to step back when you can step in. You're choosing not to lower yourself to the level of negativity or anger that others might be trying to drag you into. You're saying, without words, I value myself too much to engage in this. And in that choice, you're holding on to your dignity, refusing to let anything or anyone pull you out of alignment with who you truly are. Your silence is a shield, a reminder that your inner peace is too valuable to compromise. It's an act of courage, of restraint, and of wisdom. You're prioritizing your own mental and emotional well-being over momentary satisfaction or fleeting victories. That's real respect for yourself, for your own path, for your values. Silence isn't about ignoring, it's about elevating. It's choosing a higher path, choosing not to let others' words or actions disturb the sanctuary of your mind. Respecting yourself means knowing that your worth isn't up for debate. And it's certainly not defined by the opinions or actions of others. When you stay silent, you're declaring in no uncertain terms that you don't need to defend who you are. You don't need to compromise yourself for anyone or anything. You are enough. That's self-respect, loud and clear, in the quietest way possible. Silence is a sanctuary, a shield that protects your peace. When you choose not to engage, not to react, you're preserving something precious within yourself. You're keeping your calm, your clarity, your balance, all the things that let you move through life with strength and focus. Protecting your peace means refusing to let the chaos around you invade the calm within you. It's knowing that your mind, your heart, and your energy are sacred, and that not everyone or everything deserves access to them. Holding on to peace is an act of wisdom. It's recognizing that some battles aren't worth the cost, that not every disagreement deserves a response. By choosing silence, you're keeping your mind free from unnecessary conflict, from the drama that pulls others off center. You're saying, I won't let this moment steal my serenity. Protecting your peace means keeping your emotional space clear, unburdened by the weight of others' opinions, criticism, or anger. You're putting a boundary between yourself and whatever threatens to disrupt your inner calm. When you choose peace, you're making a statement you value your well-being too much to let negativity invade it. You're showing yourself that your emotional health matters more than fleeting satisfaction or proving a point. Silence is a declaration that you're committed to your own happiness, not just in the moment, but in the long run. You're choosing to guard your spirit, to keep it free from the burdens others might try to place on it. You're building a wall around the quiet center of who you are, allowing nothing and no one to disturb it. Protecting your peace means choosing where to focus your energy. It means being selective, not letting everything that comes your way affect you. It's knowing that you have the power to decide what's worth your time and what isn't. By staying silent, you're reclaiming your power. You're showing yourself that you're in control of your emotions and reactions, that you won't let external forces dictate your inner world. It's an act of profound self-care, a way of saying, I choose to keep my heart steady, my mind clear. Your peace is your foundation. It's what lets you face challenges, what lets you stand strong when things get hard. Protecting that peace is essential because it's what gives you strength, resilience, and clarity. When you stay silent, you're making a choice to keep your inner life whole, untouched by negativity, grounded in the things that truly matter. In a world full of noise and distraction, your silence becomes your fortress. Your peace becomes your power. And from that place of calm, you can move forward with purpose and grace. Silence is a gateway to observation. When you step back and hold your tongue, you allow yourself to see with clarity and depth that can only come from stillness. By not reacting immediately, by not rushing in with words, you give yourself the freedom to absorb what's happening around you. You're able to tune in to the subtleties, the things that others miss in their hurry to be heard. You catch the small details, the changes in expression, the tone beneath the words. You become a witness to truths that only silence can reveal. Observation in silence gives you insight into people's true intentions and motives. When you're quiet, you're not giving away anything, no reactions, no cues, no telltale signs. You're simply there, watching, letting others reveal themselves. And in that space, they often do. People's words may try to disguise their true feelings, but their actions, their expressions, the energy they bring, those things rarely lie. Silence becomes your tool, a way to see beyond what's being said to what's really there. When you observe, you gain a deeper understanding of situations. You start to see the connections, the cause and effect, the patterns that emerge in people's behaviors. You notice what's consistent and what changes. In silence, you become a student of human nature, a reader of the unspoken language that we all share but few recognize. You understand the dynamics at play, the undercurrents, the tensions that lie just below the surface. This power of observation equips you with a wisdom that words alone could never provide. In silence, you're not just watching others, you're also learning about yourself. You're able to see your own impulses, your own responses, and understand them without acting on them. You gain control over your emotions by acknowledging them without being driven by them. Observation lets you see both sides, both perspectives. It allows you to hold back, to let the moment settle, to act with purpose rather than react out of habit. This is a power that grows quietly, one that doesn't need to prove itself but becomes more valuable with time. Silence gives you a balanced perspective. It's like stepping outside the noise and looking down from a higher view where everything comes into focus. In that space, you can see clearly what's worth engaging with and what isn't. You're not swayed by temporary emotions, not pulled into the heat of the moment. Instead, your ground is steady and informed. By observing, you build a strong foundation, one that's rooted in understanding rather than assumption. Through observation, you gain wisdom that goes beyond facts. It's an understanding of human nature, of intention, of action. You're no longer guessing or reacting blindly. Instead, you're discerning, making choices based on what you see rather than what you're told. The power of observation gives you a quiet strength, a confidence that comes from seeing things as they are. And in that strength, you find a kind of freedom, a release from the need to react to every little thing, a calm that no one can take away. When you choose silence, you're sending a message without uttering a single word. You're allowing others to sit with the absence of your voice, your presence, and in that quiet, they start to understand what you bring into their lives. By not stepping in to explain, defend, or argue, you give them a chance to see the space you fill because now it's empty. They feel the weight of what's missing, and that absence teaches them to value your presence. Silence doesn't just create mystery, it creates clarity. It allows others to reflect on what they've taken for granted. When you refrain from engaging, people are left to realize what it's like without your insights, your warmth, your support. Suddenly, all those moments where they might have overlooked or dismissed you take on a new meaning. They start to recognize the quiet strength, the consistency, the loyalty you brought. And it hits harder because they see it in its absence. In choosing silence, you're letting people discover on their own what they may have ignored. They begin to see how much they leaned on your advice, how often they turned to you for understanding, how you were the steady hand that kept things in balance. Without you filling in the gaps, they come to know that not everyone offers what you do. They see that your presence is not a given but a gift. They learn to respect the qualities you bring because they start to realize not everyone has them. Your silence teaches them patience too and respect for boundaries. It shows that you won't always be there at a moment's notice, that your time and energy are valuable. It forces them to consider that perhaps they've overstepped or undervalued you in some way. They start to realize that your attention isn't guaranteed, that you're not there to be used or dismissed. You're there on your own terms, and that respect isn't something they can demand, it's something they earn. In the quiet, they have to grapple with their own shortcomings. They're given the space to see where they might have faltered, where they might have taken advantage, where they didn't appreciate you. And in that silence, they begin to understand that you're not there to fill a role. You're there as a person with your own needs, your own standards, your own boundaries. They see that your value isn't just in what you do, but in who you are. The lesson here is subtle but powerful. You're showing them that your worth isn't something that needs validation. You're not asking for recognition, yet your silence commands it. They're left to reflect, to question, to miss, and eventually to value. You're teaching them that respect is not about what they say, but about how they treat you, how they acknowledge your presence when it's there, and even more when it's not. By stepping back, you're teaching them to look closer, to recognize that not everyone has the patience, the understanding, the grace that you bring. You're showing them that your time, your energy, your essence aren't to be taken lightly. And in that silence, In the void where your voice would have been, they learn your true value, not because you told them, but because you showed them by choosing not to. Silence is a shield that keeps you from stepping into battles that aren't worth your time. When you choose not to respond, not to engage in every confrontation, you're making a powerful statement. You're not here to fight every fight. Silence is wisdom, a calm refusal to be dragged into disputes that drain your energy and cloud your mind. It's about knowing that not everything requires a reaction. Not every word or action deserves your attention. In staying silent, you sidestep the chaos that often comes with unnecessary conflicts, and you keep your spirit undisturbed. When you choose silence over conflict, you're choosing peace over pride. You're saying, I don't need to prove myself here. You're resisting the urge to defend or explain, and in doing so, you're showing strength and control. Arguments can pull you into a storm of emotions, make you say things you can't take back, make you lose your balance. Silence protects you from that spiral. It lets you keep your focus and stay grounded, no matter what others are trying to pull you into. Silence in the face of conflict sends a message that you won't be easily provoked. It shows others that you value your time and mental space too much to let it be disturbed by fleeting disputes. This isn't about running away from confrontation. It's about choosing your battles wisely. It's about understanding that not every argument adds value. Not every debate is worth engaging in. By staying silent, you're stepping above the noise, showing that you're operating on a different level, one that's not controlled by petty drama. Avoiding unnecessary conflict also allows you to see things from a clearer perspective. When you're silent, you give yourself a chance to step back, to observe, to understand what's truly at play. In silence, you can see if the issue is even worth your time, if it aligns with your values, if it's something you want to be part of. You gain the space to consider whether engaging would bring you closer to who you want to be, or if it would only drain your energy for nothing. That moment of pause is where wisdom lives. Silence lets you hold on to your dignity. Arguments can pull you down, force you into a back and forth that diminishes your peace and disturbs your balance. When you choose silence, you're protecting your character. You're saying that you won't let someone else's anger or negativity disrupt your calm. You're choosing to stay composed, to hold on to your self-respect. And in that restraint, there's power. By not allowing yourself to be baited into conflict, you're keeping your dignity intact, showing that you're above the need to be right or to win every confrontation. When you avoid unnecessary conflict, you're not only protecting yourself, but you're also building an inner strength. Each time you choose not to react, not to be drawn into the drama, you're reinforcing your own resilience. You're teaching yourself that you can rise above, that your peace is too valuable to be sacrificed. Over time, this becomes a habit, a natural response. You grow into someone who isn't easily swayed by the emotions of others, someone who chooses peace and wisdom over chaos and noise. In silence, you gain control over yourself, over your choices. You're no longer at the mercy of outside triggers. You're the one who decides when to engage and when to walk away. This control, this inner strength, is a gift that keeps you steady. By avoiding unnecessary conflicts, you're protecting your energy, preserving your peace, and walking away with your integrity intact. You're letting the world know that you choose your battles wisely, that your time is precious, and that you won't allow trivialities to disturb your inner sanctuary. In that choice, there's a strength that speaks louder than words ever could. There's power in letting consequences do the talking. In a world where everyone feels the need to speak up, to defend, to justify, sometimes the best move is to say nothing at all and let the results speak for themselves. You don't always have to explain or justify your decisions. The outcomes of your actions will tell the story for you. Consequences are the real truth tellers. They don't lie. They don't sugarcoat. They simply show you what happens when choices are made, whether they're big or small. When you let consequences speak, you're demonstrating patience and trust in the process. You're allowing time to reveal what was right, what was wrong, what worked, and what didn't. You don't need to rush in with a defense or an excuse, because in the end, the results will be clear. When people see the truth of the outcome, they'll understand without a word from you. They'll see where things went right and where they went wrong, and it will be evident who made the right decisions and who didn't. The beauty of letting consequences speak is that it strips away all the noise. People can argue with words, they can debate, they can try to twist the facts, but the consequences don't bend. The truth of what happens after the decisions are made is undeniable. It's like an unspoken witness that stands firm no matter who tries to talk over it. When you step back and let those consequences unfold, you're saying, I don't need to explain. The results will speak for themselves. and that speaks volumes without a single word being said. Sometimes we feel the need to prove our point, to argue and defend our position. But what we fail to realize is that our actions are the loudest message we can send. The consequences, whether positive or negative, will always carry more weight than our words. And people are watching. They're watching how things unfold, how decisions play out. They're seeing the aftermath, the way things fall into place, or the way they fall apart. When you let consequences do the talking, you give others the opportunity to learn without you saying a word. You show them that actions always speak louder than intentions. Letting consequences speak also teaches a deeper level of accountability. You're no longer running from the outcomes or hiding behind excuses. You stand tall in the face of what's come from your choices. You're not afraid to let things play out, to face the good or bad that results from your decisions. This is where true strength is shown, not in the defending, not in the justifying, but in the ownership of your actions and the courage to let whatever happens unfold. This is a lesson not just for others, but for yourself. You can stand in the truth of what you've done and trust that. In the end, it will be clear. This approach also brings a certain peace. You no longer carry the weight of over-explaining, of constantly defending yourself. You let the consequences settle the matter. And when they do, they don't just reflect the past, they provide guidance for the future. You start to realize that by letting things play out, by not rushing to control the narrative, you gain wisdom. You see what's important, what truly matters, and what you can learn from the consequences that follow. When you let consequences speak, you also let go of the need to manipulate or control outcomes. You understand that not everything is in your hands. Sometimes all you can do is make the best decision and trust that the chips will fall where they may. By taking your hands off the situation and allowing it to unfold naturally, you gain a sense of freedom. You free yourself from the anxiety of controlling every step, and in turn, you learn to accept that outcomes are sometimes beyond our grasp. It's about having the faith to let go and the wisdom to know when to step back. In the end, the truth of consequences cuts through all the noise and drama. It simplifies everything. No matter how much people argue, no matter how many opinions get thrown your way, the results of your actions will stand as a testament to what was right and what was wrong. They speak louder than any justification, louder than any defense. And when you let them, you set yourself free. You allow yourself to trust the process, to trust that the truth will always find its way through. And that in the end, what's meant to happen will happen regardless of how much you try to explain. Building your inner strength doesn't happen overnight. It's forged in silence, in struggle, and in the moments when the world pushes you to your limits. It's about standing firm in the face of adversity, showing resilience when things get tough, and holding steady even when it feels like everything around you is crumbling. Inner strength is not about how loud you are or how many times you speak up. It's about how deeply you can stay rooted in your purpose, in your belief in yourself, even when no one is watching and no one is applauding. When you begin to cultivate inner strength, you learn to rely on yourself. You stop waiting for validation from others. You stop seeking approval. You realize that the foundation of your power doesn't lie in someone else's recognition, but in the quiet certainty that you're moving towards something bigger than the noise. You know that your worth isn't determined by external praise or success, but by how you carry yourself when no one else is looking. That's when the real growth happens, when you can walk through the hardest days and still stand tall because you know you're doing it for something deeper than just the surface level victories. This strength doesn't come from avoiding struggle, it comes from facing it head on. It's the quiet moments when you keep going, even when it feels like your body and mind are telling you to stop. It's waking up when the world tells you to stay down, fighting the urge to quit, pushing through discomfort, and finding peace in that struggle. Inner strength is built on your ability to endure, to rise after each setback, to keep pressing forward when every part of you wants to fall back. And in those moments, you learn the most about yourself. You discover depths of resilience that you never knew existed. And those moments of struggle are the very things that shape you into someone unshakable. The real power in building inner strength comes from learning to trust yourself. The more you face, the more you endure, the more you come to understand that you can handle whatever comes your way. It's about realizing that no matter how heavy the burden, you have the capacity to bear it. Your strength is not measured by how many times you fall, but by how many times you get back up. The more you push through, the more you realize that each challenge you face only adds layers to your fortitude, making you more formidable with each trial. Building inner strength also teaches you to embrace discomfort, to grow comfortable in the unknown. It's in those uncertain moments when everything seems unclear that your true power is forged. It's easy to be confident when things are going well, but it's the quiet confidence you build when things are tough that truly defines you. You learn that it's okay not to have all the answers, not to know exactly where you're headed, but still moving forward with conviction because you believe in your ability to adapt and to overcome. Another key element of building inner strength is learning to remain calm when the world is anything but. There are times when everything feels out of control, when chaos surrounds you, and when it seems like the weight of the world is pressing down on you. But it's in those moments when you can find the peace within yourself that your strength shines. You understand that you don't need to react to every little thing. You don't need to get caught up in every emotion, every confrontation. Instead, you learn the power of pause, of stillness. The true strength lies in being able to sit quietly in the storm, knowing that the winds will pass and you will remain standing. This kind of strength also teaches you self-discipline. It's not just about how you respond to external events, but how you manage yourself, your thoughts, your emotions. It's about staying focused on the things that truly matter and not letting distractions or momentary frustrations pull you off course. Building your inner strength means developing a level of discipline that allows you to stay consistent, to keep pushing even when things don't feel easy. It's the quiet commitment to doing the work day after day, no matter how hard or unglamorous it may seem. Over time, building your inner strength leads to a sense of inner peace. You begin to understand that the external world doesn't have to dictate your internal state. The chaos, the noise, the expectations, they all fade away when you realize that your true peace comes from within. You're no longer at the mercy of outside circumstances. You are the calm in the storm, the unwavering force that stands tall, no matter how fierce the winds blow. That peace, that unshakable center, becomes your foundation, and it carries you through even the toughest of times. In the end, building your inner strength is not about being invincible. It's about understanding that you are capable, resilient, and powerful even when the world tells you otherwise. It's the quiet assurance that you can face whatever comes your way, knowing that no matter how tough it gets, you will always find a way through. And that is where true strength lies, not in how you appear to others, but in the quiet certainty you carry within yourself, knowing that you have what it takes to overcome, to rise, and to endure. There's something powerful in the quiet strength of knowing when to step back. When you stop chasing, when you stop seeking approval, when you stop hustling for validation, something shifts. It's like you've placed yourself on a pedestal, not out of arrogance, but out of self-respect. When you realize that your time, energy, and presence are valuable, you no longer need to run after anyone or anything. You let people come to you, and when they do, they're coming with purpose. They're coming because they recognize something in you that they can't ignore, something magnetic that draws them in without you lifting a finger. The truth is, people are drawn to what they don't have to chase. They're drawn to confidence that isn't loud but steady. When you're always reaching out, always putting yourself out there, you can miss the point. The moment you stop trying to prove yourself, you create an air of mystery, of value. People are naturally attracted to that. They start to wonder, why aren't they chasing me like the others? They start to feel the pull. And in that space, you don't have to beg for attention. It finds its way to you naturally. It's about creating an aura of value that cannot be bought or even easily imitated. You become a magnet, not because you're constantly putting yourself out there, but because you understand your worth and hold it close. And when others see that, they recognize that they need to come to you. They begin to seek you out, not because you forced it, but because they want to be around what they can't quite touch, something that doesn't need to be chased down or earned. They're drawn to you because your energy tells them that you are the one worth pursuing, and that shift in dynamic changes everything. This isn't a matter of arrogance. No, it's a quiet knowing. It's about the moment you realize that you don't have to beg for the attention, the respect, the love, the opportunities that you want. You've built yourself up to a point where you are enough just as you are. And when you reach that point, you stop chasing. The moment you stop needing anything from the outside world, you create space for everything to come to you. People will start coming to you, whether it's for advice, opportunities, or simply because they want to be in your presence. This comes from self-assurance. You become a force that doesn't have to announce itself. Your value speaks for itself, and in the silence of your self-respect, others begin to take notice. They recognize that they are in the presence of someone who has earned their place, someone who doesn't need to fight for what's rightfully theirs. And when they come to you, they come with more than just empty words. They come with respect, with purpose, because they know they're dealing with something rare. It also changes the way people approach you. When you stop chasing, you stop tolerating mediocrity, you stop lowering your standards, and you stop letting people take you for granted. The people who come to you know that they are coming with something to offer because you've already established that you're not just any other person. You're someone worth investing in, someone who doesn't just give pieces of themselves away for the asking. They will have to approach you with something real, something valuable, because they know that anything less will not be accepted. In this space, you also reclaim your time and your peace. When people come to you, they come on your terms. They come because they recognize that your time is not something to be taken lightly, and as a result, you find that your life becomes less cluttered with meaningless distractions and more focused on the things and people that truly matter. You no longer have to chase anyone or anything, because those who are meant to be in your life will find their way to you. And when they come, they'll be bringing more than just their presence. They'll be bringing a sense of respect and admiration. They'll be coming because they recognize something valuable in you, something worth pursuing. The dynamic shifts entirely. You no longer have to fight for a seat at the table. When you stop chasing, others begin to recognize that you've already earned your place. In the end, it's about knowing your worth. When you've put in the work, when you've built yourself up, you understand that what you have to offer is not something everyone gets to experience. That's not arrogance, it's self-awareness. And in that self-awareness, you create an invisible force field around you that makes people want to come to you, not because you beg, but because they recognize that the best things in life don't chase, they attract. And when people come to you, they're coming for the real deal, the one who knows their value, doesn't need to prove it, and lets the universe bring it all back. So remember, you don't always have to speak or act. Just step back, stay silent, and let your presence be missed. Let them come begging.